welcome back to Coach-to-Coach. Today's guest is Bradley Davidge, the founder of Bradley Davidge International Coaching Studios. Bradley is a transformational leader, musician, performer, and creator of spaces where the truth comes alive. Bradley and I met recently on Jamie Smart's Clarity Coach training, and we recently had a wonderful conversation, which has led us here today. Thanks for joining us today, Bradley. It's so nice to see you again.
Hey, Greg, thank you so much for having me. It's awesome to see you.
Yeah, my pleasure. So the way I like to start these things off is to ask, what first sparked your interest in coaching?
Yeah, beautiful question. That I don't know if you heard that, but something was dropped on the floor up there. That's
Yeah.
where my interest in coaching is like, ooh, no. It's interesting. Many years ago, I've always been a sort of a fitness enthusiast, personal trainer, all of that. And I really became interested in health coaching. So I started as a health and wellness coach. So what sparked my interest in that was, well, the idea of coaching, to be honest with you, and this, I don't think I've really articulated it like this, but like growing up coaching my son in sports and the idea of a coach, because I know coaching comes from sports, comes from the arts. I always really loved that idea of coaching. And so, health coach, oh, cool. I love health. I love coaching. So, kind of fell into that with really no intentions on actually coaching anyone, but was more about let's do the course, which was a year-long course. Let's learn the curriculum because then at least I can feed my family the right things. And then I fell into a coaching arrangement and ended up having clients sort of laid in my lap and then realized, oh shit, I love this. And so that's kind of how I fell into it. I've since morphed away from the world of health and wellness coaching, kind of more into transformational coaching, less prescriptive, more conversational, more curiosity of what's really going on underneath the hood, if you will. And I love spending time with people to explore that, to see what's possible for them.
I love it.
Yeah.
I saw on your website a slogan, "We jam, things change."
Yeah.
And I thought, well, first of all, I thought that's awesome. And then I thought that would be a good lead into the next question, which is telling us about your practice and how you're working with people and kind of, you mentioned transformation. So maybe, what that means for you and your business.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, really what it means is it always comes back. See, for me, Greg, this is the greatest profession in the world because you really cannot give away anything that you don't have yourself.
Mm.
So in order to be a really transformational coach, leader, you have to be that. You can't just fake it. You can't pretend. You have to do the work, which is beautiful. And so it always starts with me. It always starts. I mean, that's how we met on Jamie Smart's course because I love that he exemplifies that as well.
Mm.
Anything that Jamie speaks to in a conversation, you know that he's gone there first himself, right? And I too believe that everything is downstream from living in the truth of who we really are. And once I saw that for myself and started living that and saw my marriage transform in my relationship with my kids and my relationship with all of my colleagues. And I mean, it was mind blowing. And so that is what my present is my art. My presence is my art is what I love to say.
Mhm.
My being is my work. And that's really all I do. So I've done all the courses, I've the credit, tons of all that stuff. I don't really talk about that because it's not really, to me, it doesn't mean anything. What
Mhm.
all that matters is who's in front of me. Where are they potentially not seeing areas where they could step into? We said something before we went on air about, you said something like we really don't know what's really possible for us. We can't even grasp that. And that's so true, right? Like the idea of a goal, most of us will create a goal based on this, but because we secretly think we can actually achieve it. Well, that's
Mhm.
not a goal. That's not a goal to me. A goal is to create something that seems so improbable.
Mhm.
And then who do I need to be to create that? The goal doesn't matter. It's just a means to an end.
Yeah.
It's so the journey along to creating that, like I want to be an astronaut and walk on the moon, right? Oh
Mhm.
shit. Okay. Maybe that's even probable. I don't know. But for me, that seems improbable. So who would I need to be to create that, right? And so, and I guess the other part is really it to enroll my clients and the people that I speak with and work with into a bigger vision of their own lives. It starts with me enrolling myself in that. And
Mhm.
like it always starts here. It always starts with me. I don't know if I answered your question, but that's what came out.
Yeah, no, well, I don't know if he answered it either, but I love the answer. Yeah, I mean, the one thing that really stood out to me was this notion of creating it, and maybe you can talk a little bit about um, the work you do to help people create their dream come true result, and just the I guess point to the power that each of us has as a creator of things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great question. Beautiful question. Um, well, first of all, I start with what I'm doing right now and slowing down and just really taking a look, sort of zooming out and seeing how are you currently creating your reality. Most people don't really see that they're doing it anyways. The way it seems to me, Greg, at this particular juncture is that we're either reacting to life or we're creating with it.
Mm,
So we're reacting to or we're creating with. And I see that it's pretty black and white. And so if we're reacting to life, it's based on what we've learned in our journey, as a human, probably since the age of 2. And if we're creating with life, we're just kind of meeting it for what it is. And I mean, this comes back to the work that I share that I do myself and I do with my clients and really just seeing what is here in the moment. I just read something really beautiful. I just wrote a Substack post, like literally just before we came on air. And it was based on something that Herbie Hancock had said about Miles Davis, which was so cool. And Herbie Hancock, most people know, especially if you grew up in the 80s, you know who Herbie Hancock was because I can't even remember the tune, but he had a hit. Like he
yeah,
had a hit.
rocket.
Yeah, Rocket. You got it exactly. And so, but previously, like in the 60s and 70s, like he was the piano player in Miles Davis's band.
Mm,
He said Miles Davis never heard mistakes. Miles Davis never heard mistakes. Then he proceeded to tell the story of how he was on stage and he played what he perceived as a really sour note, right? And he looked at Miles because Miles was the leader, and Miles just kind of went like this and then just went somewhere completely different, created with the mistake that
mm,
Herbie thought that he made. And to me, that's such a powerful metaphor for life. That's creating with, not reacting to. Reacting to would have been his perception of that being a mistake and something not being correct, as opposed to that's just what happened. That's what was real.
yeah,
So we create with that. It happened to me as I was sharing earlier today, going to the mall to look for a suit. Okay, what's occurring? What's occurring? It's here, it's creating, it's creating. And there's also reacting. It's part of being the game. It's the game of being a
yeah,
human.
yeah,
But when you really see that there really are no mistakes, and when you really slow down to see what is actually happening, what's occurring in this moment, um, then you're able to create with it.
mm,
Yeah. And so the work I do with my clients, it's really individual. I mean, you can probably relate to this. It's extremely different for every client because every client has a different story and a different way of how they see the world. And so I just meet that and create with that, which will look completely different over here than it will over there, right? But it's all for the end result of really waking up to the truth of who we really are.
mm,
And that may not be the poster on the billboard. That may not be the Costco sign, but when you come in, it's like, oh, okay, cool. This is what it's all about. Cool. It's really slowing down to really feel into the truth of who you really are and a falling away of all of that which you had believed you once were, and sort of the falling away of that so that you realize, oh crap, I'm doing this anyway. So I can create this as just what happened and not a mistake, right? And then all of the shame and guilt and everything else that goes along with creating something as a mistake.
yeah, yeah. I love that story. I love how it relates directly to your "We Jam, Things Change" kind of motto because it's like somebody lays down a note or a beat or something in the jamming, like you're meeting that where it is and building off that. And uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I can almost close my eyes and see Herbie Hancock and Miles Davis jamming on, and creating something amazing out of what otherwise would have been thought of as a sour note. So that's awesome.
Yeah. And Herbie was astute and aware enough to really see that as probably the greatest lesson of his life, not just musically, but
Mm,
with his kids and with his family, and like to really just really there are no mistakes,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
It's
yeah. I want to
interesting. Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Well, I was just gonna say I want to thank you for the reference too because I've been bombarded with memories of breakdancing in my friend's garage on a bunch of cardboard and spraying it with pledge so we spin faster. So
That's awesome.
I haven't thought about that in a long, long time.
Good times, eh? Good times. Good
Yeah,
times.
yeah,
Yeah. And no, I love that you pulled that quote from the website. I don't know if people know this about me, but I spent most of my adult life as a touring professional musician. So, I mean, I started jamming when I was 14, 15 years old. So I've always jammed, and I've been a musical director of some pretty big acts, toured all over the world. But it's still just jamming. Like, even if you come sort of prepared,
yeah.
it's jam. And often in those jams, somebody will do something that they didn't mean to do. And you're like, oh, what was that?
Mm,
And then you go there, but just being open to that. And so what I realized, it was really interesting when I became a coach about 10 years ago. I had this crazy, speaking of creation, I had this idea of, okay, now I'm a coach. So all of the things that I've done in my past are in the past, and that's not who I am anymore. Now I'm this. So I
mm,
started studying coaches. Like, it's just kind of how this brain seemed to work. It was like,
yeah.
okay, I wanted to be a guitar player, so Eddie Van Halen and Jimi Hendrix and all that stuff, right? And then I realized, holy shit, like when I'm sitting with someone, it's exactly the same as when I'm on stage in front of 10,000 people.
Mm,
It's all of that. It's being in the moment. I've been doing this my whole life. It's reacting to what is happening around from a really acute awareness that I've developed as a musician and as a performer to really sense and see what's happening. And so bringing that into a conversation and in a place of jamming
mm,
where you're not really on necessarily on the stage, you're more in the practice room where you can just jam. And then boom, then before you know it, before the end of the conversation, you're on the stage and the lights are on you and you've sort of embraced the idea that we don't know what we're going to create right now, but we're going to be listening from that place within us that allows us to see something that we may not have seen otherwise,
mm,
create something that would not have otherwise been created. And the spirit of jamming, to me, is such a big piece of what this lifetime has been. And
mm,
so bringing that into the coaching space has been a lot of fun. I even have a community that I run for other coaches called the Clarity Jam Sessions.
mm,
And that's what we do. We just jam in conversation,
yeah.
and things do change
Mm,
every time.
I love it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm assuming you'll relate to this, but I hear lots of famous musicians talking about songwriting or creating their music and how um, it seems to come from somewhere else, like it's created through them. And although I'm not a musician, I mean, I know in my coaching quite often that's what it feels like when you're with a client and there's a particularly, I don't know, huge kind of shift or transformational insight that's kind of gifted to us in our conversation. So I'm imagining as a musician, you've probably had many experiences in your, decades of playing music of having kind of, something bigger than you kind of create the music through you, and if you've had similar experiences in your coaching.
Yeah. With 1,000%. That's really it. And when I saw that, it's like I couldn't, I, not that I needed to understand, but why did I love coaching so much? Well, it was just another extension of that.
Yeah.
conversation. And I'm curious if you can relate to this. I'm speaking with someone, and then there's a thought that will occur. It's like, oh, go here. And then there's something within me that's like, no, like there's this sort of almost like a pullback.
Mm,
And every time I didn't trust that, it was the wrong thing to say
mm,
in that moment. Or when I suggest, like, it's almost like it's like you're sort of sensing that exact. I wouldn't call it maybe a channel or just. I mean, I just see this as an antenna. I
yeah.
see it as just the vessel of because I have no idea what I'm going to say on this conversation or any conversation, but just meet it for what it is, meet the moment, and trust what's coming through. And like right now, when it feels really clean and really, then I just trust it and it just goes. And often nothing comes out because what I'm trusting is nothing needs to be said right now. I've had conversations with clients where I've probably said one or two sentences in an hour,
Mm,
like nothing, because what was real and present, like what song wanted to be written in that moment was silence, was
mm,
space. It was no, 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 not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet. And then boom. And then some question or inquiry will come that I don't know where it comes from. Like
yeah.
I really don't. I don't like Bradley doesn't take any credit for any of this. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just all my job is just to get out of the way. One of the great songwriters from Newfoundland and Labrador that I grew up in Newfoundland and Labrador. Ron Hines would always say that, he said, the well is it's bottomless well, and we just have to get out of the way and tap into it, and it's so true. I mean, I released a record in 2002. I've been writing songs my entire life as well, but it's also performing. Like if I'm on stage, it's that. It's like it's just trusting and allowing that whole thing because I don't know where it comes from. I have no idea. But coaching is the same.
Yeah. Love it.
I really believe like what you or myself or anyone would love to create, it's just not available to us. The version that shows up, really connected to that true space of the truth of who we really are, where there really is no other. That's where the possibilities. That's what will create whatever that wants to be created, right? And then the game of being a human is noticing the old things coming back in to say, well, that's not, what about that can't be possible. You can't reach out to that person or all of that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That beautiful dance, but knowing what holds it all. That's who I am, and that's who you are, and that's what everyone is.
Yeah. Love
All of it. Yeah.
it. Yeah. For people listening that may not have had an experience of being coached or might wonder what coaching can help them with. I wonder, you mentioned doing work yourself, but examples either where uh, doing the work has helped you in your life or an example from one of your clients, just something kind of tangible that somebody could go, oh yeah, that could be me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I can share what happened just before this call.
Mhm. Please
Happening.
do.
That's what's alive. Um, so just today, I woke up beautiful in a beautiful mood, which doesn't happen all the time. Had a beautiful call with a client, had a beautiful call with a colleague. Then I went to the mall to get a suit that my wife wants me to get for this wedding that we're going to this weekend. And then I noticed, oh, ooh, I don't like being in malls. I don't like
Mhm.
shopping, right? And so going from place to place to place and noticing, oh, I kind of see them as characters. It's like, oh, so the character of, oh, this is a bad thing, or, you could be doing other things. And all these things, they come in, but I know that I am that which holds it all.
Mhm.
I just kind of notice. I didn't notice. I don't identify with that. And then I'm fully present with each salesperson, like, and it was beautiful, right? And then I would leave, and then but I didn't get anything, and so then I call my wife, and she's like, "Well, you got to get something because like, well," and then I'm able to slow down and see, wow, she's really stressed about this,
Mhm.
and I see how she's wearing that, how she's creating this. I'm not making it about me,
Mhm.
so what could I do to really, button this whole thing up, right? And what the decision was, okay, cool. So I'm going to go back out later tonight and I'll find something.
Yeah.
But it's just easy. It's not like in the past that would have caused a massive racket between myself and my wife because I would have blamed her for being nagging and being on me, and she just cares.
Yeah.
She's incredible, right? But I can see that. I can see the mall. I probably wouldn't have gone to the mall, right? And then I had a couple of appointments that got moved around, and that would have derailed me. But it was like, oh, okay. So what now? I always say, so what? Now what? That's like
Mm.
my favorite four words to say. Okay, so
Yeah.
what? Now what? Right?
Yeah.
Because I know what holds it all. And so this is the work that I do with myself, and that's what I do with my clients. I've worked with a ton of veterans over the years who can now, have a conversation with their wife, who can now go into a grocery store,
Mm.
now kiss their kids goodnight. Like, if you want to be tangible, like that's so tangible, who can now get a suit, put a suit on and go for a job interview where
Mm.
that just was not accessible before,
Mm.
right? These men and women who are so highly, highly trained, who go overseas and fight for their country and come back and they just want to hide in a ball under the thing because they're given all these diagnoses and
Mm.
you know one of the things that I really champion is that you really cannot create the life that you think you want without loving the life that you currently have. And when you truly see that, okay, what's occurring within, what that shifts everything. And then all the flavor of everything outside, the perception, it just shifts.
Mm.
Yeah, you're still a person walking. I mean, it's very useful to have a body to walk through the world,
Yeah.
right? We need that. It's nice. It's really helpful to eat food, and all of that good stuff. But just really coming to an understanding of what's actually doing it is, yeah. So kind of mix a bit of the tangible in with the woo woo and all
Yeah.
of that good
Yeah.
stuff. But I mean, it's all the same thing, right?
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
And you may have already answered this, but I'll ask it anyway. If there's one thing you'd want people to take away from this conversation or to know, what would that one thing be?
Oh, hmm. I'll say something. It speaks to everything I've spoken to. So everything I've spoken to, and and this speaks to exactly what I'm experiencing right now, and that is when things are going really well, that's a beautiful time to be grateful and to practice gratitude, to be really grateful. Oh, my relationship with my wife or my husband is like it's to really feel gratitude.
Mhm.
And when things are not going as planned or as you thought, to just be really gracious. And I guarantee you, you will feel not 10%, 50% better.
Mm.
Be gracious with yourself, like I am being right now. Like I shared before we came on. Like I was thinking, well, I'm not feeling 100% and like a headache but we're free to show up as love because that's who we are. So just really holding yourself with graciousness will allow you to, I guarantee you, you'll feel 50% better. So practice gratitude when everything is really well, great. Practice graciousness when things are not. Because I can tell you that from experience. I was like, oh, I'll just gratitude my way out of this shit, right? I feel like shit. Okay, but I'm grateful that I feel like no, I'm not grateful that I feel like shit,
Yeah.
right? I just feel like shit. Oh, okay, you just feel like shit. Cool. We don't even need to know where that comes from. It's okay.
Yeah.
Because what happens is that when we don't, the voices start and all of that self-talk start, and we're designed to dig the hole even deeper and deeper and deeper.
Mm.
But you're the one that holds that for yourself because you're the one that's holding everything anyways.
Mm.
I don't know if that made sense there, but I think it did.
I get that too. If people want to learn more about what you're up to, um, where do they go and find you?
I'm walking around the streets and stages. No, well, my website is bradleydavidge.com. That's DAVIDGE.com. And I'm on Instagram and I'm on Facebook. Um, yeah, yeah, just reach out. If anything resonates, I also have a Substack that maybe we can put it in the show notes. I can
Yeah,
send it
sure.
every week. That I love to do, and a podcast called the Clarity Jam Sessions that I'm just starting. So,
Mm.
but yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining me today. I wish you all the best of luck finding that suit, and I'm sure the wedding will be amazing, regardless of what you're wearing. So,
It's going to be amazing. You know what? Thank you, Greg. Thank you so much. I'm really grateful for our connection and I'm really grateful that you had me on. It's really fun to talk about this stuff and to talk about what has made such a massive difference in my life and I know your life
mm,
and to share possibility, you know, of the work that we do in the world. It's never been more important, and with the onset of AI, it's even more important to what we spoke to today.
mm,
I'm actually in the process of creating my own AI avatar, like that my clients will be able to use in between sessions. That's my
mm.
voice, and it's coaching from essence of this. It's not like a chat GPT thing. It's
Yeah.
some process of creating that. I really believe that what we are experiencing right now is irreplaceable. It's
Mm.
that connection. Like we're on Zoom and I feel deeply connected to you, right?
Yeah.
Which is like wild, right?
Yeah.
I don't believe a robot will ever be able to do that. But I've been having my clients use like AI in between sessions, and it's drastically changing the conversations that we're having
Mm.
because they're able to sort of work through some things, come to the conversation with a very different. They're bringing something very different, and we get right into action.
Yeah.
Really, I want to 100x my business. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
And so that's a really exciting. It's a really exciting time to be, if you want to call ourselves a coach.
Yeah.
Um, what a beautiful time to be alive. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. See that's called jamming. I don't even know what we're talking
Yeah.
about here, but
Yeah.
it's I just trust it and thank you for giving me the space to speak that because that's what wanted to come through. So
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Well, thank you for sharing. Thanks for joining me. This has been yeah, another wonderful conversation. I can't wait until our next one.
Oh
So
yeah.
until then, we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much,
All
Greg.
right. Thanks, Bradley. Take care.